Tyler S. writes, how come a Michael Jackson biopic hasn't been made yet? I mean, Johnny Cash, John Lennon, and Ray Charles have one, and news of a Freddie Mercury biopic is on the way. Is an MJ biopic movie just too difficult? And if one was made, would 2 actors have to play him because of his skin disease? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
I don't think you'd ever have to worry about 2 actors. I mean, they makeup. I mean, that's what Hollywood is. I mean, they turn people into different things all the time. So that's not really the issue. I believe, and this is just me speculating, that the big problem with trying to produce a Michael Jackson biopic right now is how do you approach it? Because there is some very diverse opinion about Michael Jackson, especially when it comes to the child stuff. Now, I've seen a lot of stuff to suggest that all the child stuff was a bunch of bull. I've read a lot of stuff that suggests maybe there's some validity to the child stuff, whatever. But it makes it a very difficult proposition for a producer at this point to say, let's make a Michael Jackson biopic. Do you just clean wash it and make it great, in which case it's going to put off a lot of people? Do you try to throw in a little bit of the more controversial stuff, in which point it'll turn off an awful lot of people? Who would you actually have to get the rights from to make that movie, and how much say would those people have in how you make it, which I'm going to guess is probably someone in the Jackson family, in which case it's going to be nothing but sunshine and candy canes. So as a producer, this would be a really tricky project to make at this point. I don't know how you proceed. Maybe in 20 years, once we have a little bit of hindsight, but I don't know. Dennis, how would you approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty soon. I mean, all of the people that he listed, Michael Jackson's the person that died the most recently.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And also, what you're saying about the controversial aspect, I think that's the biggest roadblock, because if you do a movie and you don't even touch on it, people are going to be like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And then the other way around, you're not going to get approval. I'm sure maybe his daughter, Paris or something, has the legal rights to his name or something like that, or the estate of Michael Jackson. They're never going to approve anything that even, like, mentions the child allegations.
They wouldn't even have a scene with a child in the shot.
Yeah.
Right.
In anything, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. So I'm thinking maybe later on, but maybe not even then.
I would go see Blanket the movie. I would pay top dollar, D-Box, IMAX to see Blanket the movie. If I was a producer right now, I would hire Oliver Stone and say, start writing that script. I will pay you a lot of money. We are not ever going to make the movie. You're going to walk away in about 5 years because it's going to be too controversial. And then I think it's all about stalling right now for a Michael Jackson biopic, because things still have to get sorted out. You're right. I mean, you're not going to make a movie that's all like, oh, look at Michael Jackson, I'm off the wall, and not refer to the weird child allegations. You can't. You can't not refer to that.
Yeah, and some people may point out, understandably so, well, Ray Charles had a dark side, Johnny Cash had a dark side. Yeah, but their dark side is a part of what made people love them so much. Yeah. That is a whole part of the image of who they were, that bad boy thing.
Right.
Child allegations?
Yeah, there's a difference between what they did versus, I
Right.
mean, that's
what
like...
what he was allegedly
what he allegedly
Right.
did.
Yeah.
People, like, when people go to prison, even the people who are murderers get upset at people who are...
creepy sleepovers and red wine for children. I mean, that's weird already, and that's that's not even an allegation, that's real.
Yeah,
That's
which led to the allegations.
Right, but
yeah.
that's a real thing. He had sleepovers with little children hugging them and having wine with them,
Michael
laughing.
Jackson.
He was a little kid, though. He was a kid-minded, so that a lot of people are like, yeah, that makes sense. He was living in his little fantasy land. That's because he had a bad childhood. So a lot of those things can be touched upon and made in the biopic and wouldn't be like, allegations. Those are truth. That's truth.
But I don't think they'd even want to touch on that.
Oliver Stone would call it Michael Jackson, a.k.a. Jesus Juice.
Oh my gosh.
Aaron?
Also, at the time of his death, he was surrounded by a lot of unanswered questions, and a lot of these things were currently under investigation, and there's a lot of questions that still remain about his life and even about how he died that haven't been 100% resolved.
Yeah.
And I think we have to wait a little bit to get a better idea of what we would want this biopic to look like or who would produce it.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, let me just cut in really quick. How he died, though, is now the doctor's in jail.
The doctor's,
he was killed by pharmaceuticals. So we know that he was an addict. and out of control, and no one was helping him. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. But also, if you guys have seen The Jacksons' American Dream, which was a miniseries on TV a couple of years ago, I think in the 90s, it was actually done really well, and it focused more on the Jackson 5 and that part of history of his life. But I thought that was awesome, and that would be a great way to tell the story if they want to approach it from a wider angle. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.